hit different, bro, when Charlie died.
Why Charlie Kirk is my white daddy?
Oh, okay, that's disrespectful. Yeah, that was
I never heard that song. I need to hear that shit.
Let me play it back.
Why Charlie Kirk is my white daddy?
Not no fucking gospel R&B singing, bro. Oh, that shit too tough.
I gotta be a white daddy. Kirk my daddy. Kirk my daddy.
Officer Tatum calls us out over Charlie Kirk. Video by Abba and Preach. Let's dive in.
Officer Tatum decided to do a response video sponsored by Israel and AIPAC. And
You know, it's fair game to criticize people. It's fair game. We're internet people. I'm not going to sue nobody over fair criticisms.
for context, in case you aren't aware, we did a video in which we talked about Officer
Sue, nigga, you don't got no legal justification to sue anybody because they're giving their opinions.
Tatum. There was a viral video going around of him from a podcast 2 years ago where he said,
I would never cry in front of my wife.
someone
Right,
asked, what happens if your kid dies? He says, I would try not to cry in front of her. If I go to my father's funeral, I ain't crying, all this stuff. Sure enough, he found out Charlie Kirk passed and turned on his live stream and decided to drop some tears for everybody.
Bro, you know, that says something super fucked up about you if you believe you can't cry in front of your wife. Now, me, I've cried in front of my wife once. When my first daughter was born, we had an issue that occurred and she had to be immediately hospitalized. And it was literally within 24 hours of her being born. She's perfectly fine now, doing excellent in gymnastics. She's about to turn 4 in a few months. But when she was born, you know, a little situation happened. It was incredibly stressful. We hadn't slept for over 24 hours. And I was just really angry about what was going on. And I cried. It wasn't like sobbing or anything like that, but a couple of manly tears rolled down my face. I can't lie. I had just become a father and I felt like I was already failing my daughter, that is. So I'm not trying to give the impression that I'm just, you know, fucking blubbering in front of my wife on a weekly basis. However, think about what that says. It says two things. One, you are so insecure about your masculinity that you think a moment of weakness, a moment of emotional vulnerability over something that is as serious as the passing of your child is able to undo all of the time that you spent with your wife, where she is able to see what kind of man you are, you know, whether or not you're a bitch or a solid dude. But secondly, it suggests that you think that women are incapable of empathizing with you and putting yourself or putting themselves in your shoes to be able to see whether or not a situation warrants somebody being emotionally distraught, like, I don't know, the death of your child. It really is a pathetic thing to think that you can never cry in front of your wife, even in a situation like that. But look at them blubbering on the internet.
Splice those two together, and it was kind of funny to say you would never cry, but then you're on stream crying for the whole world, right?
Right.
He didn't like that. He was quite upset that we was laughing at that.
But to take a video from 2 years ago to somehow leverage that to make fun of me for crying, tearing up when Charlie Kirk was murdered.
This is hilarious. I just peeped the text in the bottom. Abba and Preach put this, sponsored by Israel and AIPAC. Oh my God. That's hilarious. Officer Talmud over here.
Murder is insane to me.
That you're missing the point. The point was not, we're not laughing at you because you're the person that you admired died. We laughed at you because of the irony of, okay, you wouldn't cry in front of someone close to you because someone else close to you would die, but someone that is remote, you're gonna cry in front of the whole world. That's the thing that is laughable.
But for you to be so disgusting and you see your friend get murdered on television, I could imagine what that does to his kids. And to try to make fun of somebody for that is the lowest that you can go. This video is brought to you by TatumStore.com. TatumStore.com, ladies and gentlemen, Black Friday is here.
What?
30%
What was that?
off up to 60.
Ain't no way this nigga went from saying what he just said right into selling and promoting merch. Oh my gosh.
% off.
What the hell did I just notice? What happened? What happened? What kind of jump cut was that?
It's not a jump cut.
It is.
It's not a jump cut. I can play the original video. Watch how he goes from like, how dare you? By the way, why don't you buy these shirts so you can move in style?
That's insane.
But for you to be so disgusting, and you know, I was at his wedding. I know his wife.
Okay.
I could imagine what that does to his kids.
Sure.
And to try to make fun of somebody for that is the lowest that you can go.
Nobody's making fun. Okay.
This video is brought to you by TatumStore.com. TatumStore.com, ladies and gentlemen, Black Friday is here. 30% off, up to 60%
Get your
off
merch
on the entire store. And that means every single product. This section here is for 60% off.
Now, did I edit that shit? Is that me? Bro, what you want me to do?
That's wild.
It wasn't me.
This is triggering for him, and I get that. So
And that's why he was so triggered, he had to do a merch sale. When I'm triggered, that's what I do too. I'm mourning that my nigga, buy my sweatpants.
That's
so you can
insane.
stay warm in these cold times.
Don't forget to buy these shirts. Don't forget to buy these shirts. We got the merch. Buy these shirts.
Oh my God. That is hilarious.
Let me make sure I know exact. 2 years ago about men crying.
They're taking a clip from something I said 2 years ago.
Okay, and why is he saying 2 years ago, right? He's, why would you use something from 2 years ago? All right, he's trying to hint that there's something wrong with doing that.
They're taking a clip from something I said 2 years ago, and which is not 2 years ago. I believe the same thing today, but
So who cares? So who cares if it was 2 years ago, 5 minutes ago,
Right.
5 years ago? If you still believe the same thing, that means that video is still relevant today.
Very much so.
So it doesn't matter. We did take it 2 years ago. It doesn't matter.
This guy is so fucking slow. And that's why he's a conservative. That's why he's a conservative black MAGA shill, because he's slow.
But why would you use a clip for me from 3 years ago saying I'm an atheist?
Your argument.
I'm still an atheist, but why would you use a clip from 3 years ago saying I'm an atheist?
I didn't
I
know
don't
that.
believe in God.
I didn't-
I'm never going to believe in God. Why use a clip from 3 years?
Myron, calm down.
Okay.
But
we have to appreciate like the fake outrage. The 2 years ago, why would you use a clip from 2 years ago? I still think that today. Then
Right.
shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
Like, why are you acting like you ain't used older clips to make a point against somebody politically? And if you still, and I'm the retard, because I remember when we did the other video, I said, to be fair to him, this video was from 2 years ago. Maybe he changed his opinion. And his dumb ass, no, I didn't change my opinion. I still think this, but how could you use it?
Weak men are.
But what's the point? You already cried in front of your wife. You cried in front of the entire world for Charlie Kirk. But you still think you're not going to cry if your kid dies? Oh, please.
Are viewed as unattractive. You can make the argument that crying can be viewed as a weakness.
Wait. Listen to what this clown is saying.
Weak men are viewed as unattractive.
Okay.
You can make the argument that crying can be viewed as a weakness.
Listen to what he said. That crying could be. That's what he said. That crying could be a weakness.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. What?
Huh?
So
You
said you never, ever, you went outcast on us. Ever.
just watch how cowardly he's going to be. He just doesn't want to own what he's saying.
You say you had men cry in front of you. That's why you're not with
Sometimes
him.
I look up videos of like army dads coming.
So you heard that? He said to the woman, "Oh, you saw a man cry in front of you. That's not why you're not with them," implying that something is wrong with men crying, and that's why a woman wouldn't want to be with them. Keep watching.
Because women judge men very harshly on that. I would never cry in front of my wife.
You see him say "could" there, and he would say he would never, and he says women judge men for that.
But I admired the guy.
How do you know that? Are you a woman? Has a woman ever told you that they find it, it gives them the ick when men cry in situations that more than warrants crying, like the death of your child? I can't think of a single woman I know that would consider a man crying as some kind of disgusting weakness in a situation like that. Now, of course, if you fucking stub your toe and you start rolling around on the ground and crying, or you're just having a slightly inconvenient day and you get so overwhelmed that you break down into tears, then sure, she's probably going to think you're a bitch. But more than likely, if that's the kind of guy you are, you're a bitch in general. That wouldn't be the moment she realized that you were a bitch because you cried because of some bullshit. You're a bitch in general, more than likely, if that's the kind of guy that you are. And so it's not the crying in of itself that turns a woman off. It's you being an emotionally unstable, unpredictable wreck. And that would manifest itself in multiple ways, including crying all the time for bullshit. But if you're going through a tragedy like the death of a loved one, or just, an incredibly insane situation, and you shed a few manly tears, ain't no woman gonna be turned off by that.
That said the reasons why he wouldn't cry, because he needs to be strong for his father. And every man, in my personal opinion, would want to have that perspective.
I will try not to cry in front of anybody. There's compulsion for me to cry at times, and I will not do it in front of people. I saw my father cry one time, and it was at his father's funeral.
So you think if man shows his emotion makes him a less man?
No, I just think men shouldn't do it. I know when emotions happen to me, and I refrain from exposing them.
I think a man who is not able to control his anger is more off-putting to a woman than a man who feels comfortable crying in front of his woman in, situations that obviously warrant somebody being distraught to that degree. That's the crazy part. These red pill alpha male manosphere guys will blow their fucking top, get angry, get pissed off at their girl, which is a form of being very emotional, and don't think that makes them seem emotional to their girl. But because they don't cry, they think that they see them as this like macho manly guy. It's fucking ridiculous.
Emotion in front of people. You say you had men cry in front of you. That's why you're not with them.
Sometimes I look up videos of like army dads.
We need to just be straight. It is mentally ill to believe it's normal to not cry in front of your wife, but it's normal to cry on the internet.
Right,
Sorry.
for sure.
That's weird.
For sure.
I could be generous and say, I agree with the sentiment that during a time of crisis, you guys are in the heat of battle, you guys are dealing with something that's an emergency, that you're going to put aside your emotions to deal with what's in front of you. That's a super normal statement.
That's not.
But the problem with a lot of these characters, like Tatum, is that they live in absolutism because they're like doing this like alpha male, very strong man, like super traditional fucking cosplay. And it's just not real. It's not in real life.
Yeah.
Guess what, guys? Soldiers on deployment, they cry. They might not cry when bullets are flying overhead.
Bro, fucking Vegeta cried, nigga. Goku cried. Bro! Jesus wept. Jesus didn't cry. Jesus wept, bro. And he was supposed to be God, the God that you believe in. And so what? You were trying to tell me that you think you're more macho and more masculine than God, nigga? Give me a fucking break. Although Officer Tatum, he denies the Trinity, so he doesn't believe Jesus is God. But at the very least, you think that nigga was fucking cold as fuck, right? Walking on water, raising the dead and shit, commanding armies of angels. And so if that guy can cry, why can't you?
But when they get back to the barracks and they deal with the day's stress, maybe not that moment, but the day after or the week after, some of them break down, cry. And if you think the other soldiers are going to look at him like, you a bitch, you're crazy. I've seen soldiers, police officers.
All of these macho, alpha male, conservative Christian guys would have called Jesus a bitch then, is what I'm hearing. That's what I'm fucking hearing.
With situations that are completely crazy. And you see them run off to the corner because something is traumatic and they cry. And if you think that other men are like, we can't do our job because one officer over there is tearing, that's not real. And that's why people are laughing at you. It's because you're trying to uphold this image of men that's not real. Men are human. We deal with stressful situations the way that you were dealing with Charlie Kirk. And sometimes we break down. And we can't control it the way you're pretending you can. We're laughing because there's hubris in thinking you're going to control grief. You're going to control all your emotions whenever you want. That's how you were.
Bro, one of my best friends, his dog just died tragically in a hit and run accident, right? And I wasn't there. I'm not a super big dog person. Like, I grew up in Jamaica. In Jamaican culture, we do not see dogs as a part of our family. I'm sure some Jamaicans do, especially in 2025. But growing up, dogs, they stay outside. They stay chained up to kennels and shit like that. They're for protection purposes. You have them in your yard to bark if a stranger comes in your yard, or if they're trained to maybe even attack somebody who is trying to invade your property. And so I'm not like really like when the whole Hassan shit was happening because he used a shock collar in his dog, bro, I couldn't give less of a fuck. Also, I thought that shit was so crazy how the entire internet was in this uproar over a fucking dog when you literally have all kinds of tragedies going around in America and around the world, and people don't give a single fuck about that shit, and that shit is goofy as fuck to me. But okay, different cultures are different, and in America, the culture regarding dogs, especially with white people, is that the dogs are a part of their family. But even black people move like that in America too. And so one of my best friends, his dog died, and just out of my brotherly love for my boy, and he was telling me that story, bro, and I could feel like my eyes kind of welling up just out of my sadness for my boy, empathizing for my boy. And I've met the dog before, and it was a great dog, man. It was really tragic. There is something wrong with you. You have something's wrong with you if you're incapable of feeling those emotions, of empathizing for other people. And maybe that's why we see so much cruelty in today's political discourse, because so many people, young men, are buying into this alpha male conservative bullshit and are becoming unwell. They're becoming mentally unwell, man, and cruel and evil.
We're laughing at you because you said you would never do this in front of the one person who should be able to see you at your most vulnerable. That's what's absurd. Y'all cry on the internet, but you won't cry in front of your loved ones, and you think that's not mentally unwell.
Yeah.
I don't even care.
Sure.
And personally, I know Preach is not like this. Preach says, I don't want to see you cry online, whatever. He doesn't like that shit. I personally don't care.
I'm not doing that, though. Fuck that. Hell no. Y'all niggas will never see me cry a single day in my life, bro. You know what I'm saying? Everybody in my family could die, bro. I'm not crying on the internet. That ain't happening. I will cry. I will be bawling like an infant if something as horrible like that were to happen. I probably would be bawling like an infant, but I will be doing it in the privacy of my bedroom, in the security of my blanket. Fuck that, nigga. Y'all will never see me cry. And I don't think that's the right place to share those kinds of emotions. I don't think you should come to the internet and be crying like that.
I just think this standard of like, I won't cry in front of the people who've known me my whole life, but I'll cry for strangers. My wife will be destabilized because she sees me. Do you not understand that women are not retarded creatures? That women can also be tough during stressful times? That women can sometimes be your rock when you're going through something? It's not just one-way street.
Listen, bud, what I understand from this is this. You lied.
Oh, yeah,
Or
for sure.
You thought you was that one and you're not. Kid would die. You would cry. And I think that's okay.
Yeah.
If your dad would die, he would cry. And if not, but you cry for your...
Yeah.
You're weird.
You're weird as fuck.
Extremely weird.
Super.
And right now, you even see this and you don't comprehend that because I understand the triggers, whatever.
Oh, you're being generous. You're being generous.
I'm always a generous one.
Yeah, you're being very generous.
Yes, very.
This is how you frame it.
The reason why he's doing that is he's triggered because there was laughter, there was his friend, but no, you would cry. If you cried for that, you would cry for your family.
This is how you dodge accountability. You frame it against the argument that you think you can win against, which is like moral outrage. Oh, they laughed at me. Listen, if we were laughing...
You know, I was watching this video, and we might react to it soon. This video of one of these guys, I think it was Aaron from some like that. Aaron, he went to one of these most dangerous hoods in America, and he was talking to a bunch of like YN gangsters, you know what I'm saying? Dudes who've killed people, dudes who've lost people to gang violence, and young guys too. And he asked him, oh, do you ever cry? You know, as you think about all of the horrible shit that has happened to you and the people around you. And he's like, yeah, I cry all the time. The guy who he was talking to was like, yeah, I cry all the time. And nobody watching that video will get the impression that this dude is not a fucking demon, bro. And that's why the crying in of itself isn't the issue. When you know that guy is like a truly hard individual, if you were to see them crying, it wouldn't make a difference to you, which is why when you see Vegeta crying in Dragon Ball Z, you don't start to think, oh, Vegeta is a little bitch. No, you people will judge your character based on how you are the majority of the time. And then in unique situations, if you act out of the ordinary, people are going to understand that it's because they're going through a very traumatic situation right here, right now. This isn't who they are as a person. And so don't be afraid to cry in front of people if you're going through something, because that crying is a part of the healing process, that grieving and allowing those emotions to come up and processing them. That is a part of, moving on from the situation. That's another reason why you got so many dudes walking around with all this pent up anger. It's because they've never allowed themselves to just feel those emotions fully, release them, process them, and then move on with their lives.
At people because they were mourning the death of Charlie Kirk. I would have made videos about Megyn Kelly. I would have made videos about all the other content creators who we didn't. So to pretend like people just want to laugh at you because you cried, that's you just being a victim. You enjoy that because it's the one road you can win down. You didn't mention any of the things that we said, which is fine. You just went, oh, can you believe that they laughed at the death of and Massa is so good to me, and they cried, they laughed. You want to buy my shirt? $5.99. Mine is Charlie Kirk. That's what he did. He did a performance, and he was gripping people emotionally, right? And it's funny to me because I grew up in this internet.
You know what's so crazy? At this point, which one of these fucking alpha male super macho guys that love to talk shit about women or act like they're so tough, which one of them haven't we seen cry on the internet by this point? We've seen Myron cry. We've seen the officer Tatum cry. Let me see if there's a video of Andrew Tate crying.
Missing.
You cried.
There were tears that ran down my face, but I did not cry.
I mean, that's crying.
I would disagree.
Okay, there are no videos of him crying, but he apparently cried when he got released from jail. Or actually, he didn't cry. He just allowed manly tears to run down his face. So I guess my wife ain't never seen me cry either. You know what I'm saying?
Where I heard how fucking emotional libtards are and everything like that. But you realize, like, these motherfuckers, they all love to do this victim shit whenever they get criticized.
What if your kid died?
That's a different thing. I mean, I would try not to cry in front of my wife.
All right,
if my kid.
I have never, and my wife has never seen me cry. I've never cried in front of my wife.
You think that the whole internet
he thinks that's a flex. You have cried in front of your wife. Exactly. When you cried over Charlie Kirk, you cried in front of your wife, sir. You think just because it was on video makes a difference? If you think a woman seeing tears roll down your face out of sadness makes you look like a bitch, your wife thinks you're a bitch now. Because she for sure saw you crying, and crying over a man too. A man that you barely know compared to your children. Is insane.
The person that is the most close to you.
A racist man at that. A racist fucking piece of shit too.
Not gonna see it, but you can expose yourself like an up-and-coming model to everybody else.
My God, you're just not conservative enough. You're not conservative enough because conservative women don't have internet.
Right, for sure.
What's that talking about?
I heard a guy say this, is that when my father passes away, which everybody's parent is going to pass away, I'm not going to cry at his funeral.
So as you listen to it, I said I saw a clip of a guy say that I'm not going to cry at my dad. I didn't say I wasn't going to cry at my dad's funeral. I said the guy that I admired had said,
nigga, you already cried on the internet. Shut the fuck up. Also, who gives a fuck? You said something way crazier, that you wouldn't cry if your child died. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. When my parents pass away, will I cry? I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But I can tell you, even just the thought of something bad happening to my children, like if I were to actually really imagine a situation where one of my children died tragically, painfully, whether that be from some kind of crazy illness or in like a horrible accident or something like that, God forbid. Just the thought of that alone is enough to start to well up very intense feelings of sadness within me. And so I'm already knowing that shit better not fucking happen, because I'll be a fucking wreck, dude. Ain't no question about that.
I didn't say I wouldn't cry at my dad's funeral. I just said I'm not going to do it in front of my wife. I go cry on my own. I didn't say I wouldn't cry at my dad's funeral. I just said I'm not gonna do it in front of my wife.
Is your wife not going to be at your dad's funeral?
No. You know why?
So he's trying to walk back the statement, right? He's doing this cowardly thing where he's trying to run away from what he said. He's like, no, I never said I wouldn't cry at my dad's funeral. Okay, well, what if your wife's there? What, are you going to run and hide in a corner to cry at your dad's funeral?
Right.
I don't know, bro. Y'all try to make sense of this for me. I don't really understand it, but let's keep watching.
Honestly, I think that shit in a way might actually fucking make a woman more attracted to you. I ain't gonna lie to you. Not full blown snot crying and drooling like how you saw fucking Officer Tatum cry over the racist Charlie Kirk. But you know what I'm saying? If you're there, you got that stoic look on your face, you're standing up strong. But you know what I'm saying? You're weeping, though. You're weeping just over, like, some tragic happening. I don't know. I think a lot of women might actually find that in an interesting way, like, attractive. Not like they think crying men are sexy, but, you know, you just being so comfortable in your masculinity and your ability to really feel your emotions and empathize with other people. I think a lot of women would actually find that attractive, but I don't know. Ladies, you let me know in the comment section down below.
But when stuff hit the road, I need to be strong for my wife. That's all I said. But you don't get your lick back.
Oh hell nah. Oh my God, bro is blubbering.
This is a sickness of the highest.
4 million people.
Bro, he got the snot cry. Ugh.
For me,
For Charlie Kirk. Ugh.
I think you suffer in silence. That's what I think.
He can't even get the words out.
This is the loudest silence I ever heard in my life.
No, man,
it was
it's not
snotty. It was. Listen, I need to call the Merriam Dictionary because I don't think that shit's included in silence.
Yeah,
I'm a cry on my own. 4 million people see you.
Yeah.
I was in the military.
But your
Like
wife-
when my daughter had that little situation when she was born, I wasn't crying like that. I wasn't hitting those. I can't even talk. Like I was not hitting that shit, nigga. No, you cried like a fucking baby for Charlie Kirk.
God forbid your wife sees you.
Yeah,
But 4 million randoms?
Right.
What are we even discussing right now?
All right, let's finish this clip. I'll move on from Officer Talman.
These guys are insane.
I thought it was meme music at first. I didn't realize.
Time out. Think about this.
Think about that. Coconuts and
Picking coconuts in Barbados.
Thank you.
Yeah, shout out to Walter. He might be a potato, but he definitely gave us some great quotes.
Now, I have cried multiple times because of Charlie's death. The
Wow.
only reason I could have turned the feed off, been like, I'm gonna turn the feed off. The only reason I didn't.
Or how about you
It's
summon
because-
some of that alpha male masculinity you think you got and control yourself, sir?
I wanted people to understand the raw emotion of what happened with Charlie and that they weren't alone in that particular situation. That for what people.
You're a fucking nasty guy, man. Because if these were real tears, you would have cried immediately upon hearing the news. Initially, you would be in shock and disbelief, but it shouldn't take you more than, 5 to 15 minutes to start bawling over the loss of somebody you really cared about. Now, again, very disgusting that Charlie Kirk is the guy that brought you to that position. But fine, Steven cried over Candy when he got shot too, so I understand. So when you cried on the internet in front of everybody, that was either the second time you broke down that day in tears, or you fucking saved that shit for the internet? Oh, That's actually even worse. That's even more gross when you think about it, because it means you're trying to pander to your audience, thinking when they see you crying over Charlie Kirk, they're going to be even more endeared to you. And that's crazy how you can make that connection. You can make the connection that your audience members would appreciate you sharing in the same kind of emotions and grief that they're going through, because your audience, it's all filled with racists as well. And so they were also sad when Charlie Kirk passed away. It's funny how you could think strategically and understand that your audience would empathize with you and maybe even appreciate seeing you share in their grief. But you think your wife, who is supposed to love you more than anybody else on the planet, who's supposed to be your ride or die, somebody that you've been through so much life with, she would be unable to empathize and appreciate you sharing in some kind of shared grief, like the loss of a child. This guy's a fucking retard, bro. Y'all know I don't like to use that word often, but I feel like for some people, they earn it, bro. And Officer Tatum, he's a fucking rocks for brain having, couch chewing retard, bro. Dumb as fuck.
But to try to make a joke out of this and to try to act like it's crazy, man. Because one day, one of these guys are gonna lose somebody that they care about, and people are gonna make fun of them. And to me,
this is why I said he's dumb, bro. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand that he's getting clowned for being a hypocritical dumbass and a fake alpha male. Abba and Preach don't go around pretending as if they're these like unhuman, super macho, masculine guys who can never shed a tear in front of everybody. And so nobody's gonna hold them to that ridiculous standard. But you, on the other hand, well, everybody should clown you.
It's really nothing to make fun of, because I don't really give. If I want to do it, I can do it if I want to. And if I said that and I do something different later because I changed my mind, that's on me.
You just said you didn't change your mind.
But you didn't change your mind. You said you still believe what you believed 2 years ago. So why you bring that up?
They're taking a clip from something I said 2 years ago, and which is not 2 years ago. I believe the same thing today. But my wife has never.
How does anyone still follow this guy, bro? How are people still watching Officer Tatum? I don't get it.
I'll tell y'all, these people will just rewrite narratives. They'll rewrite reality. They don't care. And they'll just start rolling with the lie and try to have you argue with their lies.
Now, a person can say, oh, she watched your live stream and saw you. Maybe she did. Maybe she didn't.
Maybe. You don't think your wife watched your video crying over this racist man that got over 4 million views? She for sure saw that shit.
I have never cried in front of my wife.
Because she's probably a racist just like you. She probably thought that you crying was not abnormal or weird or emasculine at all.
And I'm not saying that people won't. It's just saying, what is the compartmentalization of being strong in times of crisis? When Charlie died, that was a small, 15-second experience, but we prayed.
15-second experience. You already admitted that you cried multiple times over Charlie Kirk, sir.
The show, I wiped my tears away during the show. I kept broadcasting, and I think,
good boy.
You're right. Yeah.
It's nothing, it's nothing wrong with what happened, but yeah, I mean, to me, it's disrespectful to Charlie and his legacy.
Of
that y'all
course.
think it's funny.
Yes,
if somebody.
Yes, Stephen, we understand. We understand. Anybody criticizes your white zaddy, it makes you very upset. We understand that very well, sir.
Were to tear up because Charlie died.
All right, so here's the second one. Now he's trying to make it about like, oh, these guys are trying to disrespect Charlie by.
And that's all he's doing. He's trying to get his audience riled up so they can come and attack Abba and Preach, which, that's just a part of the job when you're an influencer and you give your opinions about other people. But that's precisely what he's doing. He's saying, look, these people, they insulted your Messiah. They're making fun of Charlie and his death. So go get him. That's what he's doing. That's why he's making this video. That, and he's clearly bothered by the fact that people are clowning him. And Abba and Preach, they're super big on YouTube. And so hundreds of thousands of people were laughing at this guy because of the video that Abba and Preach made. And so he was triggered, he was offended, and he's trying to get revenge. But this ain't gonna do nothing, man. This ain't. All you're doing is making yourself look stupid.
By pointing out my hypocrisy. right? So you see how they try to frame it in the way that they can win? Because, God forbid, these guys, they were making fun of the dead. That's what he's trying to do now.
Yeah, 100%.
It hit different, bro, when Charlie died.
White Charlie Kirk is my white daddy.
Okay, that's disrespectful. Yeah, that was
I never heard that song. I need to hear that shit.
Let me play it back.
White Charlie Kirk is my white daddy.
Not no fucking gospel R&B singing, bro. Oh, that shit too tough.
I gotta be a white daddy. Kirk my daddy. Kirk my daddy.
You cowards that just want content to be made. I would never understand y'all. You guys take something that happened 2 months ago, referring to a video 2 years before that, to make content. Y'all suckers, man. And I no longer support I've been preach. It's fair game
We
to
took
criticize.
something from 2 years ago that you still think today.
Right.
About a situation that happened not long ago. That's what we did.
Yeah, it is what it is. I never liked Officer Talman. I know he's getting his checks from Israel and AIPAC, to sell out his own country. So, good for him.
Right.
But, yeah, dude has always struck me as a bit of a dummy. Mm-hmm. And this is just.
Well, you just proved it right there.
I mean, they're all slow. They're all fucking slow. Tatum, fucking Stevie Knight, all of them. They're all fucking slow. All of these black raccoons who cried over Charlie Kirk and are pushing an agenda. I mean, we've seen his own audience convert to being more radical because he helped them go down that pipeline and then turn around and call this man a monkey. If that don't tell you that what you're doing is stupid, I don't know what will. So that was Abba and Preach versus Officer Talmud. He completely exposed him as a hypocritical beta male. But you guys let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Until next time, peace out.